What's up guys, John Rettinger here with a review for you of the Blackberry Curve 8900 for AT&T. The Blackberry Curve has kind of gone under the radar. It really kind of got lost in the iPhone 3GS announcement and the pre-announcement. This came out just a few weeks before and really not many people took notice of, and it's quite unfortunate actually. So this phone will run you $149 on a 2-year contract minus a $100 rebate. This is what you'd expect from a Blackberry Curve. The previous generation Blackberry Curve, I believe, actually became the #1 selling smartphone of all time because it was released on just multiple carriers. Every carrier, almost worldwide, had a Blackberry Curve, and this is just a popular successor. If you liked the previous generation Curve, meaning you liked the Blackberry operating system, you're okay with not having 3G. You like the chiclet style keyboard as opposed to the one layout of the bold where the keys aren't really separated. Got my monster face in there. You know, the Curve is going to be for you, and it really doesn't make many compromises with the one exception of 3G. But not having 3G, one thing I will say about this device, it took a long time to get the battery to run down using my test. It took 5.5 days to get the battery to run down. It really makes you realize the drain that 3G actually is. So if you're not into 3G, but you want a 3.2 megapixel camera with video, you want probably one of the best email clients out there, you want a really sharp screen, and this does have the same screen resolution as the Bold, which is absolutely fantastic. You want a very usable keyboard, you want a passable HTML browser, and you want some tactile feedback and have an actual, substantial feeling phone. The Curve 8900 is a really good way to go. It does not reinvent the BlackBerry wheel by any stretch of the imagination. There's nothing new or revolutionary for Blackberries in this device, but what it does do is what BlackBerry does well. Emails. Email on this thing is fantastic. You're going to get probably unparalleled access to BlackBerry's email client. So if that's what you're into and you can sacrifice a web browser, you can sacrifice having 3G, this really is a fantastic option. So this is a phone, and it's got to make phone calls. I always like to kind of make that a nice segue into the review. And I will say that phone quality on this was okay. It was not as good as, say, the Bold's radio. That may be due to the lack of 3G. I don't think the call quality was even as good as the T-Mobile variant of the 8900. So I'm not so sure that's a reflection on AT&T or the phone itself. I tested using other phones, and the call quality was fine. So it may again just be this device. Although AT&T's Edge network is sort of not being phased out, but a lot of the towers are being transitioned to 3G towers. So if you are relying heavily on Edge, you're still going to get the same reception, but there won't be the same number of towers that are covering your area. So that may be a reason you want to look to upgrading to a 3G capable phone whenever you are able. On my end, it sounded okay, a little bit tinny. On the other end, people could hear me fine, but they did know very clearly that I was on a cell phone. Something to keep in mind. Using my few hours of testing, I did have a few dropped calls, nothing really out of the ordinary. It's not a bad phone by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not the best phone that you can get. But if you're looking for a combination for planner and email, this really is not a bad option. This phone does a lot of things well. One thing this phone is not is fun. And in this day and age, it's really hard to look at a smartphone and not at least naturally compare it in your head to the iPhone 3G, the 3GS, and even the Palm Pre. It's really difficult to, at least as a tech reviewer, to not hold the new phones coming out to what I consider to be the height of the industry, and that's really, in my mind, the iPhone and the Pre. So this is not a fun phone. You're not going to get touchscreen, you're not going to get pinch to zoom, you're not going to get any multi-touch. You know, really what you're getting with this, the reason people flock to BlackBerry is just for email. So if email is important to you, you can sacrifice the rest. This is a really, again, a good option. I've said that a few times. But if you're looking for a package that maybe has a little bit of everything, a jack of all trades, maybe a master of none, if you will. If you want, a really unparalleled web browser, if you're looking for better picture viewing, the iPhone 3GS is a good way to go. If you're on AT&T, if you're on another carrier, you've got the Pre, you've got the G1, and upcoming My Touch on T-Mobile. There are a lot of options for every carrier's cachet of phones. So it really is hard to look at this phone, while it's very capable, and say I'm impressed with it, or wow, look what a great job RIM, which is Research in Motion that makes the BlackBerry, did. So again, it's not a bad phone, it's just not an impressive phone. So how about that? Although at $149 you are getting decent value for your money, and a phone that will last you 2 years with pretty strong build quality. So if I have to rate this phone on a scale of 1 to 5, I'm going to give it a solid 3. For what this phone does, it does very well. It doesn't pretend to do anything more than be a BlackBerry. It's not a Storm with a really improved web browser and touchscreen. It's not even a Bold with a little larger screen and perhaps, according to some, more usable keyboard. It's a BlackBerry Curve. When you get a BlackBerry Curve, you know what you're getting. And if you want one, odds are this review isn't going to convince you one way or another. It's pretty straightforward, at least in my opinion. Anyway, so on a 1 to 5 scale, solid 3. Hope you guys enjoyed. For exclusive content, be sure to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/John4Lakers. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.